The Carlton County Jail is a linear facility. It's 48 beds. It was built in 1979, and it is a 40-year-old jail that's running out of life at this time. Part of what happened with our facility is we had an inmate that was not housed here, that was housed at another facility that ended up dying. And what that caused us to do was to really look at our operations to see if that would have happened here. Compliance is not about the tags, it's not about the data that's produced. It's really about knowing that you did the best you could so that on your watch, you don't have to face a family member. I had to give that death notification to that wife that lost her husband. Those are memories that stick with you for a long time. And really, it's my job as an administrator to talk to staff that they don't want to be in that position. I don't want to be in that position. And Guardian RFID is not meant to give you a pass on your responsibility. With well-being checks, it is one of the most laborious part of a correctional officer's responsibility. Being an older linear facility, it was really difficult for staff to be able to make a round in a facility that wasn't meant for efficiency. It required them to remember a lot of things as they made their round. The only place they could document was back at their workstation, which was either on paper or through a computer log. When we looked at the video of what on paper looked like 100% compliance, the video actually showed we were somewhere around 80% compliance. And really it was a surprise to the staff when they learned that they were out of compliance, because they truly felt they were doing the best that they could and felt that they were within compliance. I think that all of us do the best we can and we feel that. But I think when you're confronted with the information that you're not, changes how you look at things. We started Guardian RFID about 2 years ago. Throughout the last calendar year, even through 400,000 plus checks that staff did, staff have learned the system, learned to appreciate the system and how it works, and they were able to complete 99.83% compliance with the well-being checks that we're required to do. The system has really moved us forward so that when they have an interaction with an inmate, or anyone, they're able to actually concentrate on that interaction and what they're doing, which helps with staff safety as well as inmate safety, because now they're in the moment and they're not trying to split their attention to remember something that they might have to log at a later time. Managing change is always a difficult task to undertake as a supervisor. Anytime that you're bringing in a system that's been in place for 30 years and then you try to change it, it brings about a lot of fear. And so it's important for me as well as other supervisors to talk with our staff, to be present with them, and compliance becomes what you're shooting for. The reality is that distraction that happens outside of the jail facility has to be set aside. Thankfully, I have been able to do that as a jail administrator and have been supported by the sheriff to make sure that our operations focus on our number one liability, which is round compliance in the state of Minnesota.
I started in the sheriff's office. I started working as a corrections officer. It was all paper documentation. That is the only option we had. We had no computerized option available whatsoever. So it was never real time. It was, we did the round and then you got busy doing something else, and then when you were able to, you would document on a sheet of paper that you did your round. But it wasn't until I became sheriff that I realized, the actual more of the legal implications of what does that mean. We have to document that we actually did this. It's one thing for our staff to say we did it, but to be able to ensure that we have legal documentation, and when it comes down to legal defensibility, that's what we need to be able to say in court is at 11:03, we did this round, and we know we did.
What makes me proud is that the staff really does care about their work environment, the inmates they supervise, and what they're able to bring to that then is a facility that has less tension in it and a lot more pride.